How's it going, Martians? Welcome back to another report. And in today's, we're going to go over an article from You Today talking about Ripple's partner that wants to transform the gaming industry using XRP. Now, as many of you know who have been in the XRP community for some time, doing your research, you know we're about to cover an article about Forte gaming. But I'm going to talk a little bit about how this development actually is going to likely usher in a new age for gaming in general. And so first let's read through the article, and then I'm going to present a few ideas that I've had on this topic for anybody who's not really thought about the gaming industry or doesn't really know about the state of gaming in this day and age, as opposed to what many consider like the golden age of gaming back in the early 2010 and the early 2000s. So let's hop into this. So San Francisco-based company Forte, which formed a $100 million fund in partnership with Ripple's investment arm Spring back in March, keeps working on applying the blockchain technology in gaming. Recently, Forte co-founder Brett Seiler explained the benefits of using XRP. So they have a tweet here from Spring Dev saying, Spring's partner Forte platform makes it easy for game developers to use blockchain technology to run better and more successful game economies by leveraging Interledger and XRP. So before we jump into this too far, I want to, this next section is about gaming economies, so we'll read this first and then I'll explain the biggest issue that video games actually have when it comes to their in-game economics. All right, so Forte is helmed by top-tier industry executive, including its founding CEO Kevin Shou, who are not focused on creating new powerful economies who are not focused on creating new powerful economies within the $140 billion gaming while making it more decentralized. That does not read properly. I think that it meant to be read as who are focused on creating new powerful economies. So obviously crypto news, there's going to be typos and broken English sometimes, right? At any rate, there have been multiple attempts at creating a killer gaming dApp, but the technology is still way too cumbersome for the average Joe. Forte wants to address the adoption problem by making such games more approachable. In a quote, creating gaming economies with multi-sided participation, open markets, and increased transparency offer a potential solution to the challenge of the complexity that plagues gaming developers that result in stagnant economy designs. This said by Seiler, again, not the CEO. I don't know who Seiler is. It doesn't say in this, so I'm assuming he must be somebody from Forte, right? At any rate, blockchain is the perfect tool for creating peer-to-peer gaming economies since it could make in-game transactions easy, fast, and transparent. So the impact of XRP is, in order to make the magic happen, Forte utilizes the Interledger protocol that was created by former Ripple CTO Stephen Thomas for establishing connections between multiple blockchains. On top of that, the startup also uses XRP for increasing the level of interoperability as well as security and liquidity. Since its inception, Spring invested more than $500 million in and around 20 companies to streamline the adoption of XRP. Okay, so let's actually talk about a little bit more in depth about the actual issue many video games, multiplayer video games, actually have when it comes to their in-game economies. And it's actually worse than their in-game economies being stagnant. It's an issue where the longer a multiplayer game exists, the more the currency or gold, in most of these games it's gold or silver or platinum or creds if it's a future game or something like that, right? Whatever the currency is in these video games, because there is typically more of the currency being generated by people going and killing monsters or doing quests or whatever it is, the game mechanic that pays the player for participating in the game's world. That revenue creation is far greater than the money sinks, as they're called in video games, for players buying things where the money is actually just burned. So in some games it will be, things like unlocking a special object for your character or a special ability for your character that you are paying to a non-player character, and so that money is just removed. Now, this is not the majority of funds within, or the majority of spending within video games, especially multiplayer or MMOs. Most of this funding actually goes, most of the gold and transactions occur between players, because oftentimes, especially in older games, the player-driven economy is able to offer better deals on any item that you may need. So a player can undercut the non-player character as far as like the cost of maybe a health potion to heal your character, or maybe they are offering a far better deal on a fancy sword that's going to make your character a lot stronger in combat, right? So the idea is that as these economies mature, you actually lose the ability to remove currency from the game world. Now, when you include a blockchain-based economy into this, what actually happens is you're able to remove that currency, whatever it is in the game world, out of the game world by allowing players to cash out into XRP or another currency that allows them to actually take the value that they've created within this world and claim it in the real world. Now, this is where things get weird, because what I've just explained in this scenario is actually a method that not only helps maintain a stable currency value within these worlds, but it's actually enabling players to make money off of these games. Now, there are people who in China, in many games, if you've ever played an MMO, you're familiar with the term Chinese gold farmer, and this is an actual profession that people in third world countries have, going into video games and just spending all their time doing whatever process necessary to make as much gold or in-game currency as possible so they can turn around and sell it illegally, mind you, to another player for real-world money. Now, this is something that many gaming companies actually struggle with dealing with, and so they have to create all these different systems and methods to try to restrict this, and they have terms of use that oftentimes will mislabel players as being these gold farmers who are just giving gold to, say, a friend who started playing or something like that, right? And so it creates all kinds of a mess with their economy as far as how players can engage with each other, how commerce actually flows through these games. And so it's the introduction of a blockchain-based currency into the gaming industry is actually a lot bigger than most people realize, because again, this is not only a solution to enable people to make money through games, and imagine what happens when we start moving more towards VR games. They're already starting to become more popular. If anybody who is a gamer, if you go on Steam, a lot of the newer games that are coming out are, if not VR enabled, VR exclusives. And so this industry is just starting to blossom. And so it's really like we're moving towards almost a matrix world, right? And so that's actually where the title comes from, in the sense that what Ripple is doing is essentially enabling a virtual matrix-style world where people will be able to immerse themselves in, and as these worlds become more high fidelity, they will eventually become indistinguishable from the real world. And so it's, in many ways, we're moving towards what almost seems like a science fiction type world, in the way that we will begin to engage with each other through cyberspace, through the internet, in ways that that we've never really even thought as feasible or realistic or meaningful in many ways. So this is actually I read this article and I was like, man, it just made me think of all this stuff that I wanted to share with you. It's a little bit older article. It actually came out back on the 5th of December, so a little bit old. And again, anybody that knows anything about Forte, this is probably not news to you, but hopefully you enjoyed my take on why I'm actually excited for what Ripple is doing in regards to engaging with the gaming industry and trying to incorporate blockchain technology into it. I also don't think that, I think that one of the bigger issues for games or for any blockchain-based gaming company is that they're trying to create a killer gaming dApp. And in my opinion, that's not going to occur if, mind you, the blockchain is the selling point of that game. I've been a gamer most of my life, and I can say with certainty, nobody, even blockchain enthusiasts such as myself, wants a game that's based around Ethereum or around a blockchain. I don't care about crypto being in my blockchain. I want it because of all the reasons I just explained, the scenario I just explained, but I don't want it to be the centerpiece, okay? I want this to be a background thing. It's kind of like what Brad Garlinghouse says. He likes to often say, quote the phrase that goes around Silicon Valley, are you a technology in search of a problem or a problem in search of a technology? And in this case, the killer gaming dApp is a technology in search of a problem, instead of playing the other way, playing the problem the problem for the gaming industry, the problem for gaming economies, in search of a technology to solve it. Instead, they're trying to throw the technology at the front of this and think that they're solving a problem, but they're not, because no gamer cares about your, it's very rare that you will find gamers who are interested in the underlying mechanics of a game as long as it feels good to play. It's more so about the immersion aspects of those games. And from every blockchain-based game I've played or attempted to play thus far, they seem more like money grabs than most, Asian free-to-play games. And anybody that knows anything about what I've just, if you understand anything about gaming and MMOs specifically in regards to what I said, you probably just laugh because you understand exactly how not free most of those games actually are and how they are really just a grab for your wallet. So at any rate, hopefully you enjoyed this video, hopefully you enjoyed this take. Also, be sure, if you haven't already, go check out the fact that we're getting The Matrix 4 and John Wick 4 coming out at the same time. Not paid advertisement or promotion, but I know that a lot of people in the XRP community or in crypto in general, well, mainly XRP, are really fascinated with the John Wick series because of the fact that it includes numerology and the fact that we've got Keanu Reeves starring in 2 blockbuster sequels, the reboots essentially. Well, The Matrix, I believe, is a reboot, but we don't know about the John Wick 4. It's apparently set in the same universe as the Matrix 4 is apparently set in the same universe as John Wick 4, which might explain why the films are both being released the same day. But yeah, there's all kinds of strangeness going on around this, and both films are apparently to air in 2022, so we still got a little while for any of them to come out, but still fascinating that they're being announced now. Conspiracy theorists, put your tinfoil hats on and leave your comments in the comment section below telling me how you feel about this. And also be sure on your way out to please hit that like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm. If you're new, be sure to also hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you can be notified of my newest video. As always, thank you for watching the video, and I can't wait to see all you guys in the next one on Mars.